Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This lecture is being recorded by the instructions of the worthy Dean, and I am Miss Sana Farooq from UIDNS department. My topic is guidelines to counsel. So, as per the instructions, I will try to cover this presentation in approximately 15 minutes. Um, So, as a health professional or a counselor or a dietitian, counseling is actually very critical in order to make sure that our clients are being motivated by us, because we need to make them do certain tasks, or you can say certain guidelines they need to follow that they don't want to do. So, we need to counsel them by following certain key guidelines that are very essential for this purpose. So now these are actually the main points that we'll discuss in the upcoming slides. So phase one is listening, which is actually a major challenge as a health professional or a counselor to pay attention to, as we need to stay calm on whatever the client says during session. So it is very essential to be silent and to be an active listener at the same time. So next is the phase two, which is questioning phase. And in this phase, we use different strategies to follow the guidelines, how to ask questions during questioning phase. And we cannot show clients that they are doing something wrong or we are criticizing them. So we need to mold or you can say we need to structure our questions in that way that we do not um, offend our clients. Now moving further to the next phase, and the next phase is advising phase. In this phase, we need to advise our clients in a manner that we are not imposing anything on them, or you can say we are not asking them forcefully to do anything. So we need to advise them in a very polite manner. And in the end, we wrap up the session. So now, further on, we will continue with the explanations of these major points of counseling. So as I mentioned earlier, that counseling is a very critical situation, that you are having conversation with your clients and motivating them through certain issues and through certain conditions that they need to follow. So we'll continue from the first phase of counseling as listening. So, listening, actually, in this phase, we need to create a friendly environment in which the client can tell us whatever they want to share and whatever they want to say easily in that friendly and safe environment to make them feel very comfortable and make them know that they can share anything they want, no matter how the embarrassing the situation is or whatever they are feeling. They either they are happy, stressed, or feeling anxiety, depressed about something or anything. They need to tell you some everything in that safe, friendly environment, and they need to open up themselves. So, and this is the way in which we can establish a comfortable environment and relation built on trust and understanding. And in return, it will lessen the stress or anxiety of those clients while talking to us. So, as I mentioned before, that as a health professional, it is very difficult for us to stay in a composed manner. You can say to stop ourselves to speak and tell our clients that they are doing something wrong or they are being very um, unrealistic. However, we cannot say them directly that they are doing these things wrong. Okay, so this is the reason we need to have control on ourselves based on two major parameters. That first is we cannot make any type of assumptions or make any type of judgments in our minds on what they are thinking or what they are telling us. And secondly, we should not give any immediate solutions to the clients instantly on any matter, because we need to listen them very keenly and very carefully, very attentively, and before they finish talking we cannot give our advice in listening phase, because we need to stop interrupting them, or we need to just stop and listen to them very attentively, so that they won't feel that that the environment is being very you can say very judgmental. So now here we have an example. So let's consider a client visits you in your clinic, and she says that she wants to lose 40 pounds by the end of this month, and you know that it is not realistic and neither good for her healthy weight loss strategy. And moreover, she wants to lose. She wants to follow a fat diet or crash diet for the purpose, and but you know that it is not very healthy, and it and actually these diets are proven to be very destructive to the body functioning and organs, so you cannot allow them to have these. But you need to be remain silent, you cannot tell them immediately, you cannot give your own opinions, you cannot interrupt them, you cannot say that you are saying wrong, as this is the reason that you want to tell them immediately that they are going to destroy their health. But we need to be very quiet at the time, because we know that if we give our advice instantly, this will actually ruin the chance of developing that particular a comfortable environment, and that friendly environment in which you can say a trustable environment in which client can share whatever he or she wants to share with us. So we cannot ruin that specific environment. Therefore we need to advise once the client has been heard completely, without any interruptions or disturbances, or your own opinions, or any kind of judgments. And additionally, we need to show them that they are being heard. By doing this, they will also feel that they are being given importance by you as a dietitian, as a health professional. So they can open up easily in front of you, and they can share whatever they want to share, either realistic or unrealistic. Right, now moving on to the second phase, the questioning phase. In this phase, we ask questions to have more information regarding the client, as well as if we have any type of query or confusion we need to clear from the client, that we gathered information from the listening phase. So it depends, either you need to clear that previous information, or we need to gather more further information, additional information. But at the same time, we as dietitians or counselors need to make sure that we are not advising clients at any cost in this phase, because this is the questioning phase, this is not the advising part. However, we need to gather the data, and that will later on help in advising the clients according to their own needs and their own feasibilities. Okay, so you need to gather data from these questioning phase, so that it will later on help in advising. Now some guidelines we need to follow while questioning to the client. So we need to avoid asking questions starting with the term why, as we have also heard from our parents, or you can say grandparents, that why means a fight. So, in the same manner, we don't know that in which mood our client is, either depressed, happy, sad, stressed, tensed, or what else, we don't know. So, we avoid the term using why while starting the question. So, a question starting with why tends to impose a thing, or may do the tone in criticism. So, as you can see in this specific example, why don't you bring your lunch to work? So, here comes why. why don't you bring your lunch to work? This should be avoided to have a successful counseling session, because this actually gives the client the reason to feel ashamed of maybe he can feel that he has done something very wrong. So this gives that specific impact. So this term why can be altered by different terminologies like how or what. Okay, so while initiating any questions, you can ask questions with how and what, as this will help the counselors to understand the hurdles or barriers that need to be focused later on, without giving any type of criticism or changing the negative tone. As you can see in these specific examples, like what keeps you from taking your lunch to work, or how would things have to change for you to prepare your lunch for work. So these two statements gives you a specific, you can say a specific situation in which the client sees that how the solution can be uh, okay. So he does not think that he's at fault or he's doing something wrong. He just needs to work it on different level. Okay, moreover, we need to ask questions in a certain way that clients are directed towards a solution depending upon their own actions, without leading them to think what went wrong, or I fault, or doing something very critically, you can say absurd or very negative. So here is an example. For example, what can you try next time you are hungry at 9 p.m.? So this specific statement also gives the client to go further, while besides looking behind that what went wrong. So he will automatically see for different solutions that okay, what will I do if I get hungry at night? Okay. However, if you ask questions like this, tell me what were you thinking while you ate those cookies? So this specific question gives an impact that the client is at fault. He has done something very wrong. He should not do that specific thing that he did before. So this gives a negative impact. So it should not be encouraged to ask these types of questions in which the client thinks that he's at fault. Because while counseling, you need to follow specific rules, that you cannot say that client is wrong. You just need to modify what they think uh, in a very positive manner. Secondly, during counseling, we need to avoid asking questions that leads to a certain answer. Like if we say that you do this thing right, the client will automatically feels that he should answer back by saying, yes, I did. So these kinds of questions are leading questions that lead to a specific answer. So that should be actually avoided. And instead, we can ask questions simply by saying that, did you do that? This doesn't actually specify anything that whatever should be yes, or it should be no. So we need to avoid those kinds of leading questions. So as an example, we can see here, you do take milk at night, right? So this is actually the leading question that leads client to answer falsely, that yes, I do. So instead, you ask this question, you can simply ask, do you take milk at night? So this question actually focuses on the part where the answer does not lead the client to answer anything falsely. So he can say yes or no. Yes, I take the milk at night, or no, I don't take the milk at night. Furthermore, those questions that carry a suggestion or an advice or an opinion in them should be strictly avoided. as these questions will lead the clients say yes to the task they'll never perform or do in their lives. For example, what if you made your lunch the night before? Or could you keep a full water bottle at your desk? So these questions should be avoided, because these types of questions are actually the questions and suggestions. So and they actually may be good for the dietitians according to their own knowledge, but may not be feasible for the clients or patients. So it should be avoided. And if open-ended questions are asked, the clients will give more data to the dietitians to work with, and so more accurately more accuracy and effectiveness will be there. So acquisitions actually should be avoided, and more open-ended questions should be asked for elaborated answers. So the questions like, for example, how can you remind yourself to drink water more often? Or what would be a convenient way for you to have water accessible? So these type of questions actually will lead clients to think more and focus to the solutions they are more feasible to, and they can follow later on. Because actually as it's a human nature that we follow what we think rather than what is being told or advised to us. So we need to give an open option, you can say an open option for the clients to think themselves that what may be feasible way for them, or what may be very feasible for them, that way they will do certain tasks. So if we plan or structure the questions in an appropriate manner, or you can say in a very smooth, productive manner that will lead the client to make a specific plan, or you can say according to the solutions in a wide range of options with a specific solid plan or strategies, removing every hurdle or all barriers coming in between them, so they can follow this guidelines easily what they want to follow. So for example, the question is, what will you do if you get hungry after lunch? Or when will you fit the 2 mile walk into your schedule? So these type of questions actually will lead the client to think what they want do further on, without thinking that the dietitian will tell them the specific guidelines to do something. Or these questions will actually lead them to follow their own instincts, and they can include their own activities to perform recommended tasks from their daily routine, and while following the specific guidelines that they need to follow for their behavior modifications or their healthy routine. All right, now the third phase is advising. So this is the phase that's your chance to show your knowledge and expertise regarding your own field. But remember, you have to advise in a certain way that the client should never feel that you are blaming them or you are imposing anything on them to do something regarding behavior modification, dietary modification, physical activity, or anything. Okay, you cannot impose anything to your clients. You need to be very polite and very humble. So, for instance, during counseling, if you say that you need to eat 3 meals a day for nutrient distribution and appetite control, and then add a sentence like, will you do that? Okay, this will automatically lead to the fact that you are considering your client's own willingness to perform the specific task, along with the advice that contains the fact and reasonings, and that why it should be done or it should be followed. This will actually motivate the client to follow the specific recommendation that you intend to make sure that your client will include in his daily routine. And so, advising should never be done in a bossy way, that you are telling or imposing something on them, that they have to perform that. Okay, rather, it should be done in a very politest way, that they won't feel a thing and they will perform whatever you say. Okay, because they won't feel that you are saying anything or you are imposing anything. They will they will take it as light, as like they will follow the specific guideline very easily. So the client should know that everything is being decided by their own thinkings, and they are the ones making all decisions for them. You as a dietitian just leads to a certain factual recommendation, but it's their own willingness that they will decide that yes, I will perform this specific activity. So furthermore, additionally, you can say it is very essential to keep in mind that whenever we are starting to advise someone, we need to ask them for permission to share. Okay, as there is the saying that advice without permission is criticism. And during counseling, we need to avoid situations that criticizes our clients. You can ask like, may I share my concerns with you? Or you can say, would you like to know something? Or can I say something or tell you something, yeah, or help you with something regarding this situation, etc., etc. So you can mold this different questions to ask specific permissions before starting advising phase. Now the question arises that why do we need to ask permission before advising, as we are the health professionals? So why do we need to ask the permission from the client? So we actually need to ask for permission due to two major reasons. Firstly, the clients will feel that they are being given importance and they will feel being respected. Okay, and secondly, when you ask for the permission, the clients will be attentive to whatever you are going to say next, as they'll know that now it's time that you will address the specific concerns they came here for. Okay, for the purpose they came to you, to for guidance or for recommendations. Okay, they will be very attentive after you get the permission. Lastly, in the advising phase, do not give your own opinions or thinkings. Instead, you should only give advices based on different facts and figures, or scientific researches, or different, you can say, life experiences. Okay, for example, instead of saying I don't like people to be on a 900 kilocalorie diet, so in this specific sentence, in specific statement, you are giving your own opinion that is not recommended during counseling. Okay, so instead saying this, you can say nutrient deficiencies, alterations in metabolism, and extreme hunger make 900 kilocalorie diet unsafe and unsuccessful for any length of time. So in this second statement, you are actually quoting the specific facts and scientific research, facts and information. Okay, according to which you can motivate your client effectively. In the end of counseling session, feedback is very important to be taken from the clients. And for instance, you can ask your clients that what do they think about certain guidelines you give, or what you said changed their mind at all or not. So this will help the dietitians understand where their clients stand and how to proceed further, and also will help the clients to share what they want to say according to their own feedback and concerns, if they are facing any further hurdles or barriers or any other concerns. Feedback is actually very vital as it includes reasons and ideas and responses given by the client and different ideologies the clients have. So, and also their progress on their motivational level or understanding. So, you can rate them accordingly and you can proceed your counseling session accordingly. If they are motivated enough or they need more counseling, or this feedback, you can rely on this specific client's feedback. In the end, you need to ask client for the summary of the whole session. You may ask them to outline the guidelines they'll follow briefly. In this manner, you may know that your client understand the whole session or have retained some information in their mind that that you both have discussed and agreed to, and this way you will know that which recommendation they will follow later on. Okay, and they can summarize themselves accordingly. This way, you will help your clients recall what they know, what they gathered, and what they will follow later on. As well as if they have missed something, or you have missed something from your guidelines, you can include in this wrap up session, and this will help later in the action steps to be followed by the clients. Lastly, you arrange a follow-up session giving a certain appointment that, for example, the client needs to visit you after a week or a month or some days, depending on their own health conditions and severity. And moreover, you can also give them your contact details, your number or email for any emergency or further concerns or any query. These are some references, and learning outcome is the students are expected to demonstrate herself or himself as an effective counselor if he'll follow these specific guidelines. So these guidelines, if you follow correctly, will surely give positive and effective results in for any client. This way you can be a successful counselor, dietitian, or a health professional to motivate any client. So thank you.